The objective of organization is to provide service and product which satisfy customer and create value for them. A product and service designed is based on the customer feedback and requirement of the market. But what is process analysis and design? Process analysis and design is a technique that allows a clear understanding of a company's business processes to be gained. Now let's proceed with the 4 different techniques to assist process analysis and design. The first one is flow diagrams. It shows the movement of materials and it helps us to clarify how things are currently working and how they could be improved. It also assists in finding the key elements of a process while drawing clear lines between where one process ends and the next one starts. Second is time function mapping. It shows flows and time frame. It is especially useful in identifying time-consuming steps in a process and where most time is lost in waiting and movement. Next in line is value stream mapping. It shows flows and time and value added beyond the immediate organization. Through the use of this technique, it is possible to isolate those steps that affect the process but do not add any value to it, hence leading to a loss in efficiency and, finally, profitability. Fourth techniques is the process charts. It uses symbols to show key activities. Process charts are one of the simpler forms of workflow charting and are still in regular usage but are less common than they once were. Then lastly, the service blueprinting. It focuses on customer-provider interaction, or it is a process analysis technique that focuses on the customer and the provider's interaction with the customer. It can be used for developing new innovative services as well as for improving existing services. The method is also appropriate for ensuring the quality of service processes. Process redesign. The term business process redesign refers to a complete overhaul of a company's key business process with the objective of achieving a quantum jump in performance measures such as return on investment, cost reduction, and quality of service. Business processes that can be redesigned encompass the complete range of critical processes from manufacturing and production to sales and customer service. Why process redesign is important? To know more about process redesign, here's fundamental rethinking of business processes to bring about dramatic improvements in performance, or in the simplest word, it is the reevaluate, re-examine, revising the business processes to have more improvement in the performance. First, process redesign relies on re-evaluating the purpose of the process and questioning what is purpose of redesigning and the underlying assumption of it. Second is process redesign requires re-examination of the basic process and its objectives. Then third is it focuses on activities that cross functional lines. And lastly, any process is a candidate for redesign. Ethics and environmentally friendly processes. Reduce the negative impact on the environment. Encourage recycling. Efficient use of resources. Reduction of waste byproducts. Use less harmful ingredients. Use less energy. Capacity planning decisions. Capacity is the maximum output rate of a facility. Capacity planning is the process of determining the production capacity needed by an organization to meet changing demands for its product. Objectives of capacity planning: to identify and solve capacity problem in timely manner to meet consumer needs. To maintain a balance between required capacity and available capacity. To minimize the discrepancy. The need for capacity planning. Capacity planning is done in order to estimate whether the demand is higher than capacity or lower than capacity. It helps an organization to identify and plan the actions necessary to meet customers' present and future demand. Capacity planning decision: assessing existing capacity. Forecasting capacity needs. Identifying alternative ways to modify capacity. Evaluating financial, economical, and technological capacity alternatives. Selecting a capacity alternative most suited to achieving strategic mission. Making capacity planning decisions. Step 1. Identify capacity requirements. Identify the levels of capacity needed by the company now as well as in the future. Step 2. Develop capacity alternatives. The company needs to develop a set of alternatives that would enable it to meet future capacity needs. Step 3. Evaluate capacity alternative. Evaluate the capacity alternatives and select the one alternative that will best meet the company's requirements. Estimating future capacity needs. Short-term planning. A reactive time scale and can be as immediate as adjusting capacity on the same day or on in time scale of up to around 3 months. Overtime of existing staff. Multi-skilled staff. Medium-term planning. This time scale is beyond the immediate managing of the operation and has the horizon of around 3 to 18 months. Hiring and firing contract staff. Leasing in facilities. Long-term planning. A time scale beyond 12 to 18 months. Here, the investment decisions tend to be more significant and will link to the strategy of the operation. New trained full-time staff or fire existing staff. New processes that may be faster. New machinery on a manufacturing line. New information systems or technology can be applied to increase efficiency and capacity. Additional facilities. Facilities location strategy. Location strategy. A location strategy is a plan for obtaining the optimal location for a company by identifying company needs and objectives and searching for locations with offerings that are compatible with these needs and objectives. Generally, this means the firm will attempt to maximize opportunity while minimizing costs and risks. Factors formulating a location strategy. 1. Facilities. Facilities planning involves determining what kind of space a company will need given its short-term and long-term goals. 2. Feasibility. Feasibility analysis is an assessment of the different operating costs and other factors associated with different locations. 3. Logistics. Logistics evaluation is the appraisal of the transportation options and costs for the prospective manufacturing and warehousing facilities. 4. Labor. Labor analysis determines whether prospective locations can meet a company's labor needs given its short-term and long-term goals. 5. Community and site. Community and site evaluation involves examining whether a company and a prospective community and site will be compatible in the long term. 6. Trade zones. Companies may want to consider the benefits offered by free trade zones, which are closed facilities monitored by customs services where goods can be brought without the usual customs requirements. 7. Political risk. Companies considering expanding into other countries must take political risk into consideration when developing a location strategy. Since some countries have unstable political environments, companies must be prepared for upheaval and turmoil if they plan long-term operations in such countries. 8. Governmental regulation. Companies also may face government barriers and heavy restrictions and regulation if they intend to expand into other countries. 9. Environmental regulation. Companies should consider the various environmental regulations that might affect their operations in different locations. Environmental regulation also may have an impact on the relationship between a company and the community around a prospective location. 10. Incentives. Incentive negotiation is the process by which a company and a community negotiate property and any benefits the company will receive, such as tax breaks. Incentives may place a significant role in a company's selection of a site. Company requirements. The initial part of developing a location strategy is determining what a company will require of its locations. These needs then serve as some of the primary criteria a company uses to evaluate different options. Some of the basic requirements a company must consider are: size. A company must determine what size property or facility it needs. Traffic. If it is in the service business, a company must obtain statistics on the amount of traffic or the number of pedestrians that pass by a prospective location each day. Population. Whether a service or manufacturing operation, a company must examine the population of prospective locations to ensure that there is a sufficient number of potential customers if a service business or a sufficient number of skilled or trainable workers. Total costs. Companies must determine the maximum total costs they are willing to pay for a new location. Total costs include distribution, land, taxes, utilities, and construction costs. Labor. Companies must establish their labor criteria and determine what kind of labor pool they will need, including the desired education and skilled levels. Suppliers. Companies must consider the kinds of suppliers they will need near their locations. In addition, having suppliers nearby can help companies reduce their production costs.